Well, I caught up with the Director General of the BBC, Tony Hall, earlier. I asked him what were his reasons for ending Tony Blackburn's 49-year BBC career.
When Dame Janet says that she rejects Tony Blackburn's evidence on a fundamental part of what she says she was trying to investigate, namely how the BBC investigated something in the past, I have to take that seriously. I mean, rejects evidence is a judge's way of saying, you know, you need to look at this very, very hard. The BBC I want is one where people talk openly and honestly about issues, and I felt in this
sense... So are you saying that there's something else there that we don't know about that you're worried about?
I am worried, and it's wholly, by the way, in terms of his evidence to this really important review. It's not to do with anything in the past or anything like that. It's only about that, which is if we are to learn from this review, we want people in the culture of the BBC to be able to come forward, talk openly and honestly about what's gone on. When she says, I reject his evidence, that's serious, and I have to act on it.
Okay, so one of the things that Dame Janet Smith also talks about is the culture of deference at the BBC. The fact that junior BBC staff didn't have the courage to speak out. And I think there were something like 117 witnesses who said that they knew about allegations against Savile. You joined the BBC in 1973. You were a junior member of BBC staff for many years. Were you ever scared to speak out?
No, I wasn't, but that, to my mind, is not the point. And the culture back then was very, very different.
But that is the point, isn't it? I mean, you were a junior BBC staffer. Did you ever see something that you thought you should mention and you were afraid to speak out about it? It's a straightforward question.
No, I didn't. It's a straightforward answer to that.
Okay. Now, to the public outside, not to us journalists, but to the public outside, there are several glaring, clashing facts here. For instance, I was amazed to find out that in the year 2012 to 2013, 200,000 people were prosecuted for not paying their license fee, and 50 people ended up in jail. Not a single person has been prosecuted from BBC management for allowing this culture of child abuse to flourish in this organisation.
It's not for me to say whether someone should be prosecuted or not. That's for the CPS, that's for the police, and indeed the CPS and the police were the reason that Dame Janet's review has been delayed for some time. So let's put that to one side, but let me say this to you. The BBC let people down. There's no doubt about that. I feel strongly the BBC let people down, and my best answer running the BBC now to that is to say to those who are abused two things. One is, I am sorry, and I really am sorry for what happened. It should never have happened, and we let you down. But also to say the courage you've had in coming forward is what we've got to build on to ensure we learn, so that the pain you have been through, all of you, I mean, in the report they're numbers with letters in front of them. These are human beings, these are people who have been through appalling times, that actually that never happens again.
But why do you think, Tony Hall, that you're the man to bring about that cultural change? Because you embody the BBC. You're a company man through and through. You worked for the BBC longer than for anyone else.
Since I came back, I brought about changes to make it easier to complain, to make sure it's easier for people to say bullying or harassment, to raise these cases. This is a big cultural change and it takes time. I've accepted what Dame Janet said. We'll look at all those policies again. We'll make sure that we're implementing the very best in class. We'll get somebody from outside to come and review that. We'll work with the NSPCC. We'll work with the association that is looking after adult victims of abuse. We'll do this in an open way. And that is the best thing I can say to the people who are at the centre of my thoughts today, which actually are the people who have been abused in the past, the people who've had the courage to come forward.
Tony Hall speaking to me earlier.